Okay, so I'm gonna do an expansion on my original question because I got some really good feedback on that. So I'm gonna expand on it, so I don't have to keep typing out the same answer over and over and over again. So about back in November, I switched from my cons, my oxygen condenser, my oxygen condenser system, into a compressor to a liquid oxygen tank. Because I'm running a Mirage and a Phantom, and we're running a full-blown 8-hour, 10-hour day, so about most days. So we had to switch to liquid to keep up with the demand, because this obviously can't keep up with this amount of torch work. Or we're going to get an HVO system. That's going to happen, but it's just not going to happen right now. So since November of 2023, I have got 6 tanks from my gas supplier. Of the 6 tanks that I got from my gas supplier, 4 have been bad. Now, what justifies them being bad? Well, I called the tank manufacturer. They were popping off no matter what we did. No matter how hard we worked, they were blasting off. Now, we never opened the pressure building valve. We were working purely off the head pressure on the tanks. I contacted US Tank, who is the remanufacturer of the tanks that we were getting, and the remanufacturer of the tanks said, don't mess with the pressure building system. It's a safety system. Don't futz with it. Okay, not a problem. We're not using that anyway. We're working just right off the gas port on the tank. I can't switch suppliers. There's a lot of reasons I can't switch suppliers. The biggest reason is I don't have the $4,000 that the other supplier wants for deposits and leases and tank fills and delivery fees and everything else. I've got a pretty good deal going with my tank supplier, even though the price of the gas is a little bit high. It is what it is. So, one of the ideas I came up with to try to keep a constant draw off of the tanks to lengthen the amount of time that we're getting out of the tanks and saving oxygen that normally would be blasting off into the atmosphere is to hook my Home Fill 2 compressor into a 250 cubic foot tank manifold. So I have 2 tanks here. This one's not hooked up yet. It will be. Into my oxygen compression system. Okay, I'm running a 5-liter DeVilbiss 5-liter DeVilbiss con right now at higher than it's supposed to be for a reason. Okay, I fully understand that it is only supposed to draw 2.5 liters per minute at 8 to 10 psi to make the compressor run. Now, this gauge here is a diaphragm, ignore that hissing, that's a bleeder valve, is a diaphragm gauge that works, okay? So it only allows a certain flow rate through it all the time. I do not have a flow rate gauge yet. I'm gonna order one anyway, just so I can keep track of everything, because I'm an old man that likes gauges and valves and things. Yes, I understand every connection, every valve is a possible leak point. So what's happening is, when I switch from the cons, right here, okay, to gas off of the valve, or off the tank, the compressor shuts off. Now, I'm going to bleed that down a little bit because I can. Because that was a little high. Turn that back on. It did just shoot up, so that could have been why that one shut off. But it's not. That's not. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what pressure is reading on this gauge, whether it's low or high. As soon as I turn the liquid oxygen tank on, it shuts down. Every single time without fail, it's shutting down. And I don't know why it's doing that. Now I've had several very good explanations or questions that have been asked as to why it possibly could be doing that. The temperature of the gas. I know that the temperature of the gas, not the liquid, the gas coming out of that tank is very cold. There is actually no liquid in that tank right now. It's working off of residual pressure from the liquid that was in the tank. That tank is, for all intents and purposes, empty. But it still has usable pressurized oxygen in it that I can use. I've used it. I've been using it for a couple days to run my torch. So the other thing I did was I got out my handy dandy trusty thermometer here, checked the temperature. 57 degrees coming off of that valve, which is the LOX valve. 56 degrees, which is coming off, 57 degrees, which is coming off the cons. So now, granted, that is not the actual temperature of the gas, but it's the temperature of the metal fittings. So that's as good as it's going to get. So I'm a little baffled. Now, the end of this is I already know how to fix this problem completely, which is to take this circuit board apart and jump the, play some jumper games. The oxygen condenser, the compressor assembly and relays and pressure switches are actually separate from that circuit board. You don't need that circuit board to run that compressor. I just kind of wanted to keep it because eventually, I just wanted to keep it hooked up properly. The fact that it's not hooked up properly is no skin off my back. It was just literally, this is a hypothetical question. If anybody knows the answer, I've expanded upon my research here, let me know. I mean, just give me, shoot me an idea. It doesn't, like I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because I'm just going to disconnect the oxygen sensor. There we go. So when it's pumping again, it does draw this valve all the way down. So it's almost like it's acting as a vacuum against, oh, that's because that's on. See, I got too many valves here. So that valve is closed now, but now that's under pressure, it's sucking off the cons. And it's real low, it's like 2 pounds. 2 pounds, 3 pounds. It's really low. This is an American gauge, so the pressure is actually, PSI is on the outside. We're less than 10 pounds. Actually, it looks like we're about 5 pounds of residual pressure in here. And then as soon as I turn this gate valve on and turn this one off, within seconds, this compressor shuts off. And I'm baffled. Could the oxygen coming out of that tank be contaminated? I don't think so. That's medical grade liquid. Could it be too pure? This machine is only designed to compress 94 to 96% oxygen. The oxygen coming out of there is 99%. So that's my question. That's the conundrum for the internet hive mind today. Thank you for watching. If you have any ideas, let me know. Yeah, let me know if you have any ideas of why it would be doing that. And again, at the end of the day, I'm just going to disconnect all that stuff anyway. But I'm just curious.